to the first episode of my channel, Nothing to It But to Do It. Now, in this first episode, I'm going to talk to you about how I managed to retire on FIRE at age 55. Now, for those of you who don't know what FIRE is, that stands for Financially Independent Retire Early. And that's what I did June 30th of last year at age 55. And this is how I did it. So it all began at age 18 when I joined the United States Air Force, where I proudly served for 8 years. After leaving the Air Force, I started working for the state of Arizona at the Arizona Department of Revenue. Now, when I started working at the Arizona Department of Revenue, I was automatically enrolled into the Arizona State Retirement System pension plan. That pension plan took money from my paycheck in which the state matched to start the process. After 2 years, I then started working for a school district in the state of Arizona, which was also participating in the Arizona State Retirement System plan. So my contributions continued. I worked there for approximately 6 years, after which I went into the private sector. Now, once I went into the private sector, I must admit, the pay got a whole lot better. I was making good money, and it enabled me to do 4 things. It enabled me to, number 1, max out my IRA, 2, max out my 401k plan, 3, enabled to start and enable an emergency fund, and 4, I was able to put my 2 kids through college. So I worked in the private sector for 8 years till about 2008, where the housing market crash happened. And if everybody remembers, during the housing market crash, it wasn't just the housing market that crashed, the US economy also crashed. And at that time, I got laid off. But fortunate for me, once I got laid off, I was hired by another school district, which was also participating in the Arizona State Retirement System. So once again, I began contributing to the retirement system pension plan. Now, let's take it back to when I left the first time. When I first left the Arizona State Retirement Pension Plan, there was an option to take your money out or to keep your money in. Well, fortunately for me, I left my money in. So when I started back working in the school district, my contributions just started where they left off with no problem. Now, after about a few years, I started really looking into how I could retire early. And I talked to the people at the Arizona State Retirement System Plan, and I found out that at the time, Arizona State worked on an 80-point system. Now, that's since changed, but I was grandfathered in. How that system worked was they took the amount of years that you worked, added that to your age, and when that came up to a sum of 80 points, that's when you were able to retire. So I knew I had some time to retire. But in talking to the Arizona State Retirement System person, I also was made aware of another thing, where you could take, if you worked in the military as a GS rated person or you served in the military, you could buy back those years that you were in the military, provided you did not retire. So since I hadn't retired, I was eligible to purchase those 8 years and apply them to the Arizona State Retirement System. Now, it did come at a cost. And to be honest with you, it cost me approximately $150,000. Yeah, you heard that correctly, $150,000. That is not a little bit of money. However, remember, when I worked in the private sector, I maxed out my IRA and I maxed out my 401k plan. What I was able to do was I was able to transfer money from my IRA directly into the Arizona State Retirement System Pension Fund with no tax implications. So that is what I did. Now, some of you might be saying, well, why would you take the money out of there to put into the retirement system? Well, inside a state retirement system, when I got my 80 points, I was going to be able to start drawing that money. Inside of my 401k plan, I would have to wait until I'm 59 and a half. So I did the numbers, and with 80 points, I was going to be able to retire at age 53. So that is what I did. At age 53, I had my 80 points and I retired from the Arizona State Retirement System and started receiving my pension. Now, I know you're saying, but wait, you said you retired at 55. Exactly. When I started receiving my pension, I still went back to work full time. But now I had my Arizona State Retirement pension coming in every month, and I supplemented that with the money that I had coming in from working my 9 to 5. I didn't go in and create new bills. No, I just still gave myself the same amount of money monthly that I had working when I was working full-time before, I kept that even. In the extra money left over, I banked that money. And I did that for 2 years until I had enough money to supplement my pension for 4.5 years. Now you say 4.5 years, why just 4.5 years? Well, because at age 55, you add on 4.5 years, I'm now 59.5. Now I can go in and start pulling money from my 401k, my IRA, and my Roth IRA to supplement my pension for the rest of my life. So that is how I became retired on fire at age 55. So now you might say, well, where does that bring you now? Well, here's how I got to start this YouTube channel. When I retired at age 55, that was a relief. I had met a goal. It was one of the happiest times of my life. After I retired, after about 6 months into it, I started feeling bored, started getting a little depressed. I couldn't figure out what was wrong until a few months ago, it dawned on me. When I retired, I did what a lot of retirees do. I retired, which means I stopped doing everything that I was doing before in my work life that was giving me some type of life outside of the workplace. So it dawned on me, why don't you bring those things back? And that's what I did. All of my side hustles, all of my hobbies, I brought those things back into my life. And also it dawned on me, hey, maybe some people are going through the same thing that I went through. And why don't you start a YouTube channel? So that's what this is about. This YouTube channel is about me and my life living after retiring and showing you how you can do other things to brighten up your day, to make your life worth living in retirement. Because here's the one thing I know, folks. If there's something you want to do in life, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. So I hope you join me as we go along this journey. If you have any comments, leave it in the comments below. Any ideas on what I can do to make this channel better, just let me know. I'm all ears and I'm ready to listen. But until next time, guys, I'll see you later.